Yarborough on a sweep. Turns it up.
I'm Coach Jeff, co-founder of Youth Football Online. We're here with Coach Mike and Vin, who's co-founder of YouthFootballOnline.com. So, we're here to talk about how the high school program should be plugged into youth football, and we'll let Coach Mike start it out.
All right, my name is Mike Yarborough. I'm from Papillion, Nebraska, a little suburb outside of Omaha here. I've been coaching high school now been going on my fourth season. I'm currently the freshman defensive coordinator at Papillion La Vista South High School. So about the youth program, I've been with our youth program now for 8 years. Seven. I've been a active board member with them. So I started a year before my son actually turned 7 years old. I started with the 8th grade team there just to help out, and then I turned back and I went down to 7-year-olds and started coaching them all the way up till he's finishing up 8th grade right now, and he'll be heading over to the high school. So I just actually took over as director of our feeder program out here now too. So I don't have any more kids in there now. But it's, I have lots of plans along with the head coach, knowing him for the past 4 or 5 years, and knowing what we want, how we want to make this thing big. So
yeah, it's nice because you know what, you could, since he has someone on staff, really plugged into the youth, you could really, it really helps the high school, keep your finger on the pulse and keep the kids there and really start branding your high school program, So
exactly.
Yeah, it's good. All right. So I think we'll talk about, a good topic will be, why this is important, why high school coaches should, be involved with their youth feeder programs. And again, I'll let you start off with that, and I definitely have some comments on that as well.
Yeah, definitely. A couple things I got is watching the kids grow. You see them short, small, and you keep on watching them growing up, loving the sport, watching how they take criticism as they move forward. See how they excel athletically, mentally, physically, all the above. I mean, it's one of those things, I haven't got to sit back and watch some of the other kids, moving up, and now I'll be able to get to do that now. Since I won't be head coaching a youth team this year now, so I'll be able to kind of see what we're going to start getting at the freshman level, so then we can start making our plans moving forward. So knowing the talent that we got coming forward, their personality is a big thing. I'm one of those coaches that you got to know how to coach kids. I mean, not all kids are going to be coached the same. I always tell parents when I talk to them, they're like, well, how are you going to get them to we'll say polling for once. I had kids polling at 8 years old, and when people were telling me, oh, they don't even know, they're not even going to know what happened 30 minutes after the game. Well, if they're loving it, if they're loving what they're doing out there and having fun, they'll know how to poll, and
yeah, they'll remember.
Yeah, exactly. That's one thing. It's, you get a lot of people that my biggest thing going through starting with the 8-year-olds was believe in them. I mean, they're, you'll be surprised with what these kids will learn going through everything. And, we just try to push forward with them and keep going, moving uphill with them instead of bringing them back downhill. So I always call my type of coaching and teaching as Barney style is what I like to call it all the time. So you got to, some kids will know if they've been around, if they have family members that are coaches, they're just going to know the game a lot more than others. but there's kids that you got to teach them a different way how to, to understand what they're doing. So I think growing up along with that is watching them grow is, how are we going to teach them how to do what we're doing in the high school level and everything. So
And I think it's big that, as the freshman coach, you really know, like, say, I don't know what league you're affiliated with, if you're independent or with Pop Warner or AYF, but, as a freshman coach, like, say your seventh and eighth graders or your 13 and under team, the talent that's coming up. So you could prepare for it. You'll know them, their personality, how they are, who your playmakers are, who your good players are. So that'll definitely give you a little bit of an opportunity to plan in advance, because there is some adjusting to your talent. You know what I mean?
right.
So I think that's big. Especially and I'm going to touch a little bit on why I think it's important, because you know what, here in New Jersey we have a public school grouping and we have private school grouping. Public school grouping is 1 through 5, 5 being the towns with the most enrollment in the school. So that's how they decide what football programs placed in what grouping. So if you live in a certain town, like I live in central New Jersey, Old Bridge Township, so Old Bridge kids have to go to Old Bridge High School. But private schools can come. We're right outside New York City. We're an hour from Pennsylvania. So a lot of these, the private schools, and not just in New Jersey, but in New York and Pennsylvania, they're coming to a township like ours, which is like middle class. So parents do have some money that would be willing to maybe enroll their kids. So they're really targeting areas like mine. So you got these private schools, they're really all over these kids. I mean, as a head coach, and
Yeah.
I've been involved in it in a while. And Vin, he helps with some of my game day stuff and does a lot of the video for my team. And he sees like how many private coaches are just watching, and they try to get like one kid on my team and then use him as like their recruiter to get other kids. So, a good. No, go ahead, Vin.
Yeah, they have a lot to offer, right? They have a great education. They have a good program. So there's a lot there, right?
I mean, I'm good friends with pretty much all the coaches on the staff. The defensive coordinator on varsity, I went to school with him. I play with him. I know him real well. We run the same defense. Mine's a little, it's a little bit more watered down because I coach the younger kids. But we do the same thing, and he's constantly, at our games and practices. So my township does a good job, building the pride in the program and coming seeing these kids from a young age, and then all the way up, and they're able to keep a lot of these kids. But the last year, I mean, I had a private school come in. They took, actually in 2018 we won a regional championship, which is like New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Maryland, like the whole tri-state area tournament. And I obviously had a couple good players and our really good running back. I mean, the kid's complete stud. He ended up going to a private school. They influenced him to go there, and they lost him. They lost my quarterback. They lost my fullback. We were a wing T team, so my good running back was one of our slots. They lost him, and they lost one lineman. That's 4 kids out of my starting 11 that, at the very least, would give you depth or be contributors. On your JV and early on, and obviously varsity as they grow older. So, I feel like if there's a disconnect, you're gonna lose kids. So I think high school coaches, man, and we'll get into, I think, things high schools can do. I mean, we'll brainstorm some ideas, but it's constant competition for these kids. And here in New Jersey, man, they're relentless. They don't stop. I'm getting phone calls because there are some regulations with the private schools, like they technically can't reach out. So they'll use parents to reach out. They'll become cool with someone in the organization and reach out. So it's pretty crazy. It's like, I feel like it's college. They're asking me, what about this 8th grader? What about this 8th grader? I'm like, listen, what am I gonna do? So
Yeah, we get some of that as well. We got some private schools that it's not, I guess we're not kind of, I mean, we battle with them, parents want them to go to the Catholic schools and stuff like that. So I mean, we do lose a lot of athletes to those private schools and everything. And I mean, it stinks. I mean, because you sit there and you bring them up from kids, and you're so excited, can't wait to see what they're going to do for us in the next level, and then bam, they're off to a different school or whatnot like that. So
Yeah, and I mean, listen, as a coach too, and as I said, I'm friends with the local high school staff here. I know them well. Their head coach was an assistant coach when I played back in the day. So he's been there for like 10 years as head coach now. So they have some stability. There's not a new coach coming in and out. So he's really able to connect with the people in the community. So that's why I think my local area does a pretty good job, because he's been here so long, well known, well liked. But, it's just, again, it's just a constant friggin' battle. And if the kids want to go to a private school to have a better education, or, you know, help prepare them for college or something, what am I going to say? No? Like, try to hide them, So it's like I battle with being loyal
Right.
to my friends in the local high school, which I go to the games every week. I'm a big fan. My two brothers played there. I played there. So, we have pride in our town. It's big, in New Jersey, it's pretty big football in this area. And it's a group 5, we're a group 5 school. So the competition is very good. So, I want them to go to Old Bridge, but at the same time, if this school has great education, or even a vocational type school, we have a couple of those too. Like, parents should have the opportunity to at least look into it if they want to, so I don't really, turn them away or be insubordinate with them, so yeah, that's that. You know what? Let's talk about some things your program's doing. And then me and Vin will touch about what our local programs are doing. So I'll let you start it off.
Yeah. So our head coach actually took over, I believe, 4 years ago. That's when I started on with him. And first thing was first. I mean, the head coach that he took over, he came over, I think it was 6 years. And then he was the defense coordinator under our past head coach before that. And our past head coach, he was very big into the youth football. He was very, very big. He wanted to be very highly involved in it. He was at all of our board meetings, which was a big thing that I was, that's why I asked our head coach now. I said, hey, I'd like you to be a, person on our board as an advisor for us, because I don't want it to go, farther, So what we have him as almost like a personal advisor on our board, just if we're taking it too far, or just having some good comments on what we probably should do and everything. So he's not a voting member, but he kind of steers us in a good direction on how his vision is and everything like that. So when our head coach started over here, the first thing he started putting together was a Titan mentorship program. So what they do, how it works is the freshman class will take the incoming 6th graders, and what we'll do is we'll send them to the Nebraska spring game, which unfortunately we can't do this year because of the virus and everything going around. But they start a mentorship program, because once those freshmen are seniors, that 6th grade incoming class will then be coming in as freshmen. So they'll, they're going to go to see each other again on their first and last years of football. So, so we send them to the spring game, and then our sophomore class and our 7th grade class, we do a Super Bowl party for Super Bowl Sunday. So we get the gym at one of the middle schools and go in there, and have like Xbox tournaments, and Madden tournaments, along with watching the Super Bowl with everybody. So they're all getting to talk to each other. So it's another year with that same group. The next year, they'll get to go do that with that same group and everything. So then for our actual 8th grade, a big thing that our head coach has done now, which has really gotten a lot of good comments on is he does commitment night. So it's kind of like a college commitment night when we don't have the 3 hats or whatever in front of us, but he kind of makes it in that, we got our background that they take for when the kids sign their letters of intent in high school and stuff, and got that. So our coach gives them like a little contract, that says his core values and everything, and they sign it, make sure that, okay, you guys are coming in this for your freshman year. This is what I expect of you and everything like that. So the kids really think that's cool. So they get their, their parents are in the auditorium and they get to, get their picture taken, and they'll be, shaking the coach's hand and everything like that. So they got a little walk-on music that each kid comes up individually.
That's cool, man. That's really great. And that pride.
They get stoked, man. I mean, it's a big thing. They love that stuff.
Yeah, that's good stuff, man. And the mentor program, I thought that's amazing. That's something my local high school. I'm about to call my buddy that's on the varsity staff here and get him on this. There's some good ideas, man. I like commitment night. Yep. I like the mentorship. I think that's really cool. And if you could instill that presence from a young age, and and the kids relate to the older kids, and to even younger coaches better. So your best recruiters, they say, are always your players, and that's the same for the high school. You have an influential senior come in, everyone knows he's good. Okay, say 1,000-yard rush or whatever, he's known in the community. Oh, hey, that kid's good. He comes down and does a camp for us or visits a practice. They could instill the local pride, the high school's pride in it. So I love the whole mentorship thing. I like it a lot. So yeah, that's good stuff.
Exactly. And I mean, it's ever since we've been having it, it's been, the positives have been great coming from parents and everything like that. So, and then through our home games and everything, we have like a junior Titan night. So what they get to do is each age group, they start with the 8th graders, and sorry, I'm kind of just getting the schedule how we usually do it. So they get the start with like the 8th grade team. Hey, we're going to honor you guys tonight at this home game. And what they'll do is they'll meet up with a former football player in our common area in the high school, and they will get a tour of the high school, kind of show them where everything's at in there. Then they'll bring them to the weight room and introduce them to the freshman head coach and then our varsity head coach. Then they'll get to go on the field while the players are up in the locker room and everything. They can throw some footballs down and everything like that. Then once our special teamers come down, they'll shag balls for them and everything. And then they'll get to sit there and meet with some of our alumni that come back for the games and everything. So then they join the cheerleaders in the tunnel, and then they'll go back up with their parents after that. So it's a good few hour thing for them to mess around, play catch with those kids, with the older boys on the varsity and everything. And I know those older boys, they think it's pretty cool thing too, because I mean, those kids look up to them. I mean, like we were saying before. So that actually goes all the way down through our 3rd grade. So it's 3rd grade, they'll go all the way down to 3rd grade to have them all have their night out there, and then we'll have one big junior Titan night to where they'll all come running on the field at halftime and stuff like that. So, and like you were saying before, with the head coach attending games, our head coach, he's big time football. One of the things that you can tell that he loves his youth program. I mean, he's all the home games, he's there. He's on the sideline, and when those kids are looking over and seeing him or the varsity offensive line coach or defensive coordinator out there, that opens up their eyes. They're like, oh, this is cool. We got our high school coaches watching us and everything.
It makes a big difference.
Exactly.
To be honest, I think it elevates, the kids play.
Right.
So believe it or not, at least that's, I have a joke with my friend that every time they come, there's only one game we didn't play well. It happened to be one of the championship games, unfortunately. But other than that, we're like, when they show up to our big games, we're like 6-1, so got a good record. And kids just seem to play our best football when they're there. Who knows why, but so that's like
Right,
our little
right.
joke. Any big game, I'm like, dude, I don't care. You have to come. But,
So yeah, that's
yeah,
pretty
it's
much that's
good
pretty
stuff.
much our mentorship program. That's kind of how he deals with our youth teams, and but also by putting on camps and stuff. So once again, due to the virus and stuff, he usually puts on what we call a spring academy, which is usually one full month on every Sunday.
Oh wow, nice.
Yeah,
You
we'll
guys
we'll
are
do
really committed to
a
it.
like a two hour camp every Sunday. Um,
Wow.
so, and then they'll break them down into actual positions in that one, and send them all into different positions and everything. And then they'll also do a summer camp um, in July as well. So right before the season starts and everything for our youth.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, I love it all. I'll just talk a little bit about I'm not a high school coach. I could just talk about what my local high school does too. I mean, I love the mentorship. I love the commitment night. That's awesome. They do a football camp in the spring, and then they do one in the summer with us. It's like a 2 or 3 day camp. One day will be focused on defense, and one day will be on offense. They have all the varsity players come down and do that. They also have coaches clinics they do with us. There are 2 teams in this town that go to the same high school. We have two. Each team's in a different league, so they're not playing each other. You're not playing the same kids in your town. They're different league affiliate. But we have two big youth football programs feeding our high school, so they do coaching clinics late spring. And they'll have us all invite all the coaches in our town in, and they give us they show us and give us insight what they're doing, okay, and just basic fundamentals and practice optimization. It's all really good. So I think that's having a coaches night, they call it. To order pizza and they talk football. They give us drills. They take us out on the field after everything. So it's really really constructive. I learn a lot from it. I look forward to it. So that's probably my favorite thing they're doing. And then they also do attend some board meetings, which I think is important too, because I was in a situation. I've been with the same program for a while, but we had a situation where the president at the time didn't really get along with the head varsity coach, so they were always for like 3 years they were bumping heads, and he wouldn't want to do anything with that in spite. So became a little bit of a disconnect. So, I think it's important that the varsity coaches and high school coaches in general, they become friendly and they become, cool with with all the youth football, leadership and coaches, because, I feel like, there are some politics in football, whether it's high school or youth. So sometimes a parent may not like this coach or like what they've run. That's somewhat unavoidable. We're an option town. I don't really run it with my kids. We don't run the same stuff as a high school usually. We have in the past, but they're a big option-based team, and you'll have some, parents don't want their kid playing in that, so they'll try to go to a private school. But my biggest thing is just, coaches have to have great relationship with the youth coaches and the parents, because, if you're not good with the leadership in an organization, they're going to badmouth you. They're going to send you tell the kids to go elsewhere, or they're going to talk bad about you, and it's a constant struggle. My town's been good with that. It's just that 3 year span and I'm not on the board. I've just been with the program for a while. But yeah, I mean, get good. My suggestion coming from the youth football and to the high school coaches is become cool with the coaches, man. Talk to them. I could text them anytime. I could call them anytime. They invite me to their spring practices, which are very closed, but they invite us, and I could go anytime I want. And that's a really cool relationship. So that's my suggestion. Become friendly, become friends with them. Invite them to your practices. If you're a football coach, who wouldn't like that? So that's my biggest thing.
That's one of our. I mean, that's a big thing too. Along with that, this year we're starting, because a lot of them talk about clinics, and we've also did. Our head coach has been doing different clinics. We'll take the library and go over some X's and O's up in the library and everything. And now a thing that we're doing this year is pretty much making a virtual playbook, so the coaches can So it's kind of like Huddle. I don't know if you guys heard about Just Play. I'm not promoting them or anything, but we're trying that this year. So what you can do is big thing is they'll show the play up on the screen right there. So like we could just be sitting here right now and like, oh, you know what? I want to learn cover 2 today. How they run the cover 2. So you can go on there, you click cover 2. You'll have your play card showing cover 2. Then on right to the right of it, you have the video of the head coach or defense coordinator explaining. He's videos like we're doing right now, and he's videotaping. This is how we run cover 2, and then right below that, we'll have a video clip from one of our games that's showing that coverage, and so then they can see it. Yeah, they have an explanation in front of them, and then an actual clip of it actually being done in a live game and everything. So we're hoping this works. And then what we can do is we can add coaches to our. You can only have so many coaches on there, but then you can add our youth coaches on there as players, so they can still see everything that's going on in that.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm always contacting my coaches, like, what should we do against this or that, or, like we're based in cover 3, and we played a team that absolutely gutted us with like verticals, 4 verts. So I was like, so he has and he's based in cover 3 too, so he has a couple nice answers for it. So things like that are awesome. I mean, I think that's a great idea, man. I love it. But
so
Ben, I know you have a few questions.
So Coach, what percentage of kids in your high school program played youth football?
We usually get a big drop off. I think if they start a little bit, I mean, I hate being this person and saying stuff like that, but if they start a little bit later, your percentages usually are a bit higher. I'm saying 5th, 6th grade, because I think when they start a little bit lower, I think, that one big hit that they said, and they're like, I'm not going to do this anymore,
Yeah.
But I'd say, at least 75, 80% of our kids are at least trying the freshman level, once they get there. And we actually have a bunch of kids that come back, maybe they didn't like the youth portion, but they come back during their junior high years and want to give it another shot again. And now they like it, because you're a little bit bigger and stuff like that. So,
I mean, I'd say it's a good portion, right? It's a good amount.
Yeah, we're at least 75 in my town, 75%. I mean, the whole starting lineup are kids I coach or know of that were in the other program. So it's a high percentage. And this is why I feel youth football is important for high school coaches. Because, if I provide my team with a bad experience, not even so much winning or losing, we've had fairly good success. We're a big town. We got a lot of kids to choose from. And, we have numbers. So, if you have more numbers, the more odds that I'll have more better athletes, So we have, it's a good talent pool here. So, sorry, I just popped up. It's a good talent pool. So we do have consistent success, I'll say. I'm saying we win it in the championship every year, but we're either in it or we're in the playoffs. But, regardless of win and loss, if I provide my kids or give my kids a bad experience, it may turn them from not even wanting to play football. So I think that's why it's important that high school coaches educate youth football coaches how to practice. Not even so much X's or O's. Not even say, high school coach, doesn't even matter. Hey, install our midline or our triple. It's not about that. It's about being a good coach. Making it fun, keeping the kids interested, and how to make practices more organized. Because if you're a mess and you're not organized and the kids don't like you, the parents will notice it, the kids will notice it, and they'll lose interest. So I think, I'm big with the high school, having football coached properly at the youth level is huge for high school. It will impact, high school numbers if youth kids aren't playing anymore. So that's our mission, is just, for the promotion and instructing the game of youth football, you need youth coaches need to provide kids with good experience. So they stick with it. So that's why I think high school coaches, I learn a lot of my stuff from other youth coaches. So thousands of great coaches that I learned from, but like the good ideas, the good core stuff, and body language, how to talk. A lot of high school coaches are educators as well, so they communicate really well. So I learn a lot from high school coaches, and then I, take it and I coach my kids. So I just think, high school coaches got to make sure, the youth coaches are doing a good job, and we could learn from them. So I think that's big. High school coaches get involved.
And that's a big reason. What what the, like you said, the high school coach being down on the field during games. I mean, that's, and I'm sure that's what he's doing. Seeing, are these kids getting coached right? Are they being taught right? Not just that you need to go hit somebody. That kind of lingo and stuff like that. No, you don't just tell them you need to go hit somebody. You explain to them, what their job is on the field. Because those kids go hit somebody. They're gonna run 20 yards down the field and just find someone to hit. Still not doing anything. So,
yeah.
At least the head coach can say, because not just the head coach looking at his players, he's looking at the coaches that are teaching these players that are coming up to him. And that's another big thing why I think the head coach needs to be involved with a lot of stuff, because they're teaching these kids up to the time till he gets them, so he doesn't want, you're not going to want them learning the whole, all this other different stuff. And then he gets to him and bang, you're in a different world now with, from what you were and everything. So.
And I mean, not all youth football coaches are receptive to that, or take criticism. I'm not saying the high school coach should criticize or tell them what to do, because youth football is a little bit different than high school. But I think the most coaches are open to it. I'm open to suggestions. I'm open to criticism. I'm trying to be the best coach I can be. I don't coach. I don't have any children. I don't coach. Any of my relatives. They're all older now, but like. I just like to coach, so I feel like, I'm very receptive to it, and I think the vast majority of youth coaches are willing to learn and anything, to help them be more successful, because we all just want to win too.
Of course. I mean,
if your program, winning is an aspect of it. If your program's getting hammered every week, or your youth teams aren't winning, it's tough to get kids there. So, winning does help with a lot. So, keep the kids interested and educate the coaches, and, that's that. So, that's good. Oh, I got a question for you. I just thought about it. How do you feel about the youth teams running the same offense as the high schools, and defense for that matter? I don't know how you feel, but I'm just curious.
Yeah, I was actually going to bring something up like that. I didn't know if we were going to talk about that or not. So that's another thing why we bring this. That just play stuff, getting this involved is one thing I know our head coach has been talking about is starting with the top and going, with the varsity, and dwindling their playbook down all the way down from varsity all the way down to third grade. What do we want, our other teams to know when they're coming up and everything. So our biggest thing with our lower levels, like our third, fourth, fifth grade teams, is terminology. If you're running, so our pro formation is base. We call it base. So instead of calling it pro right, starting, getting into the kids' heads at that age, base right. You start calling it base right instead of pro right. And that's, run what you want. We'll give you, our coach will give them the tools that they need if they want to run it. If not, just keep the terminology the same is our biggest, let them know the wording and the verbiage of everything. And then once they start getting older and get to us, then they're going to be like, oh yeah, base right. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to be able to do this, or, sweep or whatnot, so, at our 7th and 8th grade levels, we start, I started really, using our high school stuff to get them really Starting to, so it's more of a more basic, but like our hand signals were different, but we taught them at practice the same as how the high school runs everything. So our like I said, our hand signals were different, but the plays and everything were all the same and everything. So it's one thing is verbiage. I think would be the best for the younger groups, maybe up to fifth grade, third through fifth. Sixth grade, maybe we start looking at a few of the base runs, and if you want to do it out of a different formation or whatnot, you can do it, but let's teach the blocking. Our head coach's biggest thing is, I want our kids to know how to block and tackle. That's the biggest thing. Once they come up there, and then we're going to learn to, if they can block and tackle, they'll be able to do a lot out on the field. So,
and I agree with you. I think, as the kids get closer to the high school, I think you could start implementing some of the same stuff. I run the exact same defense pretty much to a T than what our varsity runs, and no matter what age level, and I get bumped around a lot, depending on who's coaching their kid, or I'm coaching different levels. Very rarely do I have the same team back to back, which is a little bit of annoying, but it's fun. So whatever age I'm coaching, I'm running that defense. I mean, we use our same terminology, same position, numbering, everything is the same. Coverages, we use colors. We use green as cover 3, red is man coverage, and yellow is like a cover 4 type thing we have. But so we keep the terminology the same, the same. We're all speaking the same language at the youth level all the way up to high school. So that's what we're doing. Yeah. And I think as the kids get older, I think that's when you could really start, implementing some of the stuff. Like our 8th grade teams, they do a lot of what the high school does. So, for us, we're a wing T team, and we run a 3-5 stack defense, and that's what I'm going to run. That's what we're going to run, no matter what age I'm coaching. It just happens to be, I worked on this defense with the varsity defensive coordinator, so they're learning the same thing. But, we're an option high school, and we run wing T down at the youth, so that's what I'm going to do. But I've been sprinkling in, when I coach the older levels, we started stalling midline, the older kids. And actually, I was a little concerned, with the mesh and reading, but kids got it. So I think, long story short, tend to blab on. But I think, as they get closer to high school, I think that's when you could really start, implementing the same system as the high school. Mm-hmm. That's my opinion on it. At least kids, they kind of do what they want.
Definitely.
Yeah. So okay. Yeah, it's good stuff.
So since 2010, we've been instrumental in promoting the game of youth football, with plenty of opposition. Do you think delaying tackle football until high school helps or hurts player safety?
I think if it's getting coached right, I don't see a problem with it. I mean, I'm like I said, if we're out there as coaches, and it brings us back to having the right coaches out there, yeah. Teaching them how to tackle. That's their biggest thing. People how to take a hit and things like that. I mean, you look at it now, it's the tackling portion. I mean, look how much information and research have been going on, now with different tackling techniques to help this, help kids stay safe and everything. So, if the coaches are teaching it correctly and the kids are listening, and that's a big thing, is keeping their focus with you, on all of it. I don't see it being a bad thing, but it all depends on who, they start putting all these scary stories out there and stuff like that, which sucks. I mean,
they're really bashing their game. There's the anti-football community, and we're very plugged into what's going on with that. The whole, there's several states trying to ban tackle football and stuff. Mm-hmm. But New Jersey was one of them, actually, and New York's currently. So, but those won't pass. We won't let them pass anyway. But for us, my opinion, I think it really benefits the kids, and I'm sure my local high school coaches will support what I'm going to say. The kids seem to be more ready because their coaches are involved from a young age, teaching them the right techniques. They come and they do tackle clinic with us, how they tackle. They do hawk tackle. So that's what they're installing. That's what we teach our kids too. But I just think if kids, and if you have bad coaching, it really, it's going to deter the kids from playing. They may never play it again, regardless of age. So, they got to like it, have fun, and be somewhat competitive. But, kids that started from a young age, and then by the time they got to high school, I feel like everything from, even how to, learn to play with equipment. They have experience tackling. They understand what's expected of them too. Like you got to go to practice if you want to play. You got to listen to the coaches. Even muscle memory, I feel like, you're definitely going to get, if you will have a helmet on from a younger age, I think it's a lot, for not every kid, you'll get these good athletes that come in as freshmen and never played before. Good athletes are going to excel no matter what sport they play. And if they're, big, strong, physical, they're going to excel. But, I think they have a big advantage. And if you look at every good high school player or solid varsity starter that's come through the youth and through high school, they all got their start and they developed a love for the game. They may play something else, instead, but if you could instill that love for the sport and they have good coaching from a young age, they'll always play. So I think there's just so many advantages of starting, younger, and you learn the technique. You know what I mean? Like if the high school and the youth are on the same page, man, it should be a smooth transition all the way up. You won't lose kids because of injury concerns. You won't lose because the parents will know. They'll see, okay, my kid played all youth. He didn't get 3 concussions every game. Coaches are aware. They're the primary concern of every coach, whether it's you guys at the high school or at the youth, is this well-being of our kids. So they see we have the best interests of the kids in our heart, and a lot of the coaches are daddy coaches. They're not going to get their kids hurt or put their kid in danger. So I think if they get involved, the more that people that get involved at a young age, the more likely they will to stay with football, and the more parents will be comfortable with it because they'll see. And again, bad coaching, that could really, you had some bad coaches that are killing the sport too. So
I think that's truthfully what's affecting a lot of it is bad coaching. I mean, if you stick to fundamentals all the way through their youth careers, I mean, once they get to that high school, just like your coaches push on. I mean, like we said before, blocking and tackling. You get them to do that kind of stuff, and they can teach them the rest. I mean, it's the biggest thing to do, fundamentals.
Absolutely, and developing the love for the game and providing. It's just like a business, like you want to provide a good experience. Mm-hmm. Coming back, it's the same thing. If they have a good experience, win, lose, draw. Like for us, I'm not like saying I'm the best coach ever or whatever, but like we retain all our players. I don't lose. Very rarely do I have a kid not want to come back. I could count on one hand probably how many of those kids, because it goes well beyond winning. It's about just having a good experience and, being cool with the parents and having fun while being competitive too, because you want to win. It doesn't matter, So I think if we, to sum it all up, the kids will be more fundamentally sound, I feel like. I feel like they'll know what to expect by the time they get to high school. Muscle memory is a thing too. Working on those movements from a young age. If I was, from a young age working on my movements, my speed and agility, and then this guy just wants to play high school football, I'm going to be a better athlete just from, doing it for so long. Getting fluent with my movements and it's just so much benefits. I feel like starting young. So. That's the battle we're fighting, is they're constantly bashing the game that it's unsafe. But if you have good coaches in place at all levels from high school all the way down, and parents see, wow, okay, it's not that bad. The coaches, they love their players. They never do anything or teach them something that will get them hurt. Or if there's any doubt, the kid's coming out. You know what I mean? So.
Right. And like I said, if they ever want a good book to read, Brainwashed by Merrill Hodge is a fantastic book.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Got it.
Right there.
Fantastic. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I read it. I got it right when it came out. So a great book. It really hammers the the anti-football community's narrative about football being unsafe. So yeah, it's good stuff. All right, so yeah, I mean, I'll let you guys go. I think this is a great discussion, and I appreciate you coming on, man. It was awesome. I got some great ideas from what your program's doing, and I'll let you two go with any final notes or any questions or whatever. But yeah, I appreciate the time.
Perfect. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks.